Welcome back to Network Africa. Liberia's health ministry says it is testing the blood samples taken from 9 people who have died from an unidentified disease in Sinoe County, 350 kilometers southeast of the capital, Monrovia. Health Ministry spokesperson Sobo George said that efforts to resuscitate those who died unfortunately failed. Mr. George added that 8 others showing similar symptoms of abdominal or stomach pains have been admitted to hospital for treatment. State radio described the illness the victims died of as a strange disease. Nearly 5,000 people died in Liberia from the 2015 Ebola outbreak when the authorities were criticized for not acting fast enough in the face of the deadly virus. But there is no suggestion that the victims have died of Ebola, and reports from the area of what happened prior to their deaths indicates that they did not experience Ebola-like symptoms. The United States has criticized South Sudan's President Salva Kiir over the country's man-made famine and ongoing conflict, urging him to fulfill a month-old pledge of a unilateral truce by ordering his troops back to their barracks. The United Nations has warned of a possible genocide as millions of people flee their homes and millions face a severe famine.
The famine in South Sudan is man-made. It is the result of ongoing conflict in that country. It is the result of an apparent campaign against the civilian population. It is the result of killing humanitarian workers, 16 in this year alone. It is the result of denying starving people access to the food and medicine that will save their lives. That is the reason there is famine in South Sudan. See a sign that progress is possible. The first sign we must see is South Sudanese government abiding by President Kiir's promise to fellow heads of state 1 month ago today to announce a unilateral ceasefire. We must see that ceasefire implemented with orders for Sudan People's Liberation Army troops to immediately return to their barracks. Continuing to talk about how sorry we are for the people of South Sudan. We're continuing to talk about how we wish there was national dialogue, but yet there's no dialogue to be had. We talk about how we wish we could get humanitarian workers in there, but we're not doing anything to force the government. We talk about how much more needs to be done in South Sudan, yet no one is stepping up and saying, let's do it. If you truly appreciate the work Mr. Shearer is doing, if you truly care for the people of South Sudan, then we must tell the South Sudanese government that we are not going to put up with this anymore. I commend the United Nations.
Meanwhile, comedians in South Sudan are joking about politics and the economic situation in the country as part of efforts to preach peace in a nation where conflict continues to disrupt civilians' lives. The world's youngest country descended into civil war in 2013 after President Salva Kiir fired his deputy, unleashing a conflict that has spawned a patchwork of armed factions.
English started in England. Very far. How many countries is English crossed to reach here?
Who are coming from other side of the world, different colors, different people, different sizes, and that is exactly the sign of peace.
Comedy in South Sudan is growing big because we are targeting our people, whatever they are doing in their daily life. And when we come together and make comedy and then they laugh, this will release those bad things from them or those trauma from their hearts, and then they will be having a peace of mind.
Peace, peace, peace.
Although Nigeria is the world's 4th largest producer of cocoa, most of its cocoa is exported for processing abroad. Finished cocoa-based products like chocolates and sweets are almost always imported into the country. But Nigeria's oldest cocoa community is slowly trying to change that by producing handmade Etioni chocolate, a brand made from cocoa obtained straight from their farms in the country.
Adeze Kweme has been roasting cocoa all day in preparation for a new batch of chocolate bonbons. Ekweme has a hotel order for chocolates that will be given out as complimentary welcome gifts for guests. After shelling the beans, A granite stone is used to manually grind the cocoa before being put into a machine to complete the grinding process.
It's very similar to the granite stone that we use.
Although it's a long and often tedious one, it ensures that the beans are not too refined or over-processed and also helps retain an authentic cocoa flavor for her Etioni chocolate brand. Nigeria is still the world's fourth largest cocoa producer, even though it has dropped from producing over 200,000 tons a year when the sector was deregulated over 3 decades ago to processing less than 20,000 tons today, but most of the country's cocoa is exported. Ekweme, who has an MBA in international business, started making chocolates in 2016 after she saw a gap in the market for locally made chocolates.
What I always say as well is that a lot of the things in the shops, they're not really chocolates. They're what even Americans call it candy. You know, so if you look at the percentage of cocoa in it, it's really, really small. It's been, you know, half of it is a biscuit, there are wafers, there's milk, there's sugar. But then in terms of pure chocolate, I don't think we don't have anything of comparison in Nigeria. Anything being imported is not, this is one time that I would say that the Nigerian product is of a more superior quality to whatever is being imported here, by far.
She sources her cocoa beans from Etioni, a rural town in Osogbo, Osun State in Nigeria's southwest. The town is said to be the first region where cocoa was ever grown in Nigeria. This plantation has trees that have been growing for about 120 years. From there, the cocoa beans are brought back to Lagos, where they are sorted before processing. Ekweme says this is one of the few communities that manages value addition of cocoa from the plantation to the final product. Each chocolate bar sells for $5 US.
We actually found out that we did have fine flavors, and we do have trees that are 120 years old producing some of the best chocolates one could ever find in the world. And we've been sitting on that, and we were just under the impression that, oh, people don't consume chocolate much in Africa. You know, they consume it in Europe, they consume it in the States, so you shouldn't be making chocolates here.
Although the Etioni chocolates are yet to gain national recognition in Nigeria, the brand has slowly made its way into some of Lagos's top hotels, as well as at duty-free shops at the city's main international airport.
And that's it on Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Temitope Fagbemi.